What's up everybody, it's Connor here from Unscripted, back again with another video. In today's video I will be giving my power rankings for all 12 CDL teams ahead of tomorrow's action, which kicks off week 2 of the CDL season, and as always I'll be doing it off the script. Before we get into the video, don't forget to drop a like on the video and drop a comment down below as well, letting me know what your power rankings are, and then drop a subscribe to the channel as well. I would appreciate any new subscribers. I'm trying to grow this channel from the ground up pretty much, and I would appreciate any and all support helping out with the YouTube algorithms and getting more viewership on the channel. So I would appreciate all of that, and let's get right into the power rankings. At number 12, we have the London Royal Ravens. So I will try to keep things short because I know I can get long-winded and there's 12 teams to talk about, so there's a lot going on. So I'll try to keep the segment short. But with the London Royal Ravens, they lost 3-2 to the Seattle Surge, and really they don't have much going for them right now. I think their biggest problem will be consistency. They looked good at times against Seattle. They won the one hard point by like 125 points or maybe 135. They looked solid in that hard point, but then they went into a Game 5 search and destroy, and Parasite had more kills than all of his teammates combined, and that's not good when your sub who joined the team 2 weeks ago is out killing his entire group of teammates. So big thing with them is just consistency. They show flashes of being a good team, but until they prove it consistently, they have to be at the bottom for me. Maybe when they get 0 back, things will improve for them, but for right now, I have them in the basement of the CDL. Next up at number 11, we have the Paris Legion. So apparently it's not a good time to be the 2 European CDL teams. Both teams finding themselves at the bottom. The Paris Legion started their season with the match against Optic Chicago, where they fell 3-0, but actually looked decent. They were up 3-0 in the search and destroy before falling 6-4, and they actually managed to outslay Optic, one of the best respawn teams in control in Game 3. So despite the loss, they were positives. Then they played the Gorillas, and they fell in that series 3-2 as well. They lost both search and destroys, which is to be expected, but they also got outslayed badly against them in the one game, which is not good because LA is not a very good slaying team. I think Paris can be a decent search and destroy team as the season goes on. They'll be okay at it, but I think they're just lacking a lot of firepower in the respawns, and they'll struggle in that area. And from here, their competition's only going to get harder. LA's the worst competition they'll get in their group, so it's only going to go up from here, and we'll see how they do, but I do not have high hopes for the Paris Legion. Speaking of the LA Gorillas, they come in at number 10 on the list. LA has some obvious strengths. They have their veteran leadership. They are good in high pressure and clutch situations. They're a very strong search and destroy team, which is to be expected with that roster. But in the respawns, they're really falling behind. They played 5 respawn maps in opening weekend and were out killed by 62 kills between those 5 maps. So that right there tells you pretty much all you need to know about the LA Gorillas. They have the veteran leadership. They have the map savvy. They're smart players. They can clutch up, especially in the searches, but they're just really, really lacking in the slaying department. No disrespect to Apathy, but when he's like your best slayer at an event over 2 matches, that's probably not a good sign for your team moving forward. But they will give teams fits for sure. In search and destroy, they'll be very solid at search, but they just don't scare teams when it comes to the respawns. They don't have it in the slaying department. So for those reasons, I have the LA Gorillas at number 10. Moving along to number 9, we have the Seattle Surge. So Seattle's an interesting team to me. They're good on paper. They have a decent roster, especially their ARs, Gunless, and Octane. Excuse me, I don't know why I said Gunny. I was thinking of Looney. And then Prestini and Looney as the subs. And I think the thing with them is they're really dependent on their assault rifle players. If Gunless and Octane are playing well, it makes Prestini, and Looney's job so much easier. But when they're struggling, everybody seems to struggle. So I think they're a team that can get hot, especially in respawns. They can be a decent team with their slaying, and then in search, they have some smart players like Looney and Prestini. So they're not horrible at anything, but they're not good at anything either. They're just sort of there. They play Minnesota and the LA Thieves this coming week. So with Minnesota, they're going to be given fits in search and destroy, and then LA, they're really going to be tested in their respawns and their slaying abilities. So if they have some big wins this weekend, they could easily move up the list next week. But for now, based on what we know, they're just not consistent enough and not dependable enough to have any higher than number 9 for me. At number 8, we have the New York Subliner. So New York, despite losing 3-0 to the LA Thieves, I came away from that series impressed with them. I really did. I thought they'd be bad coming into the season. I sort of changed my mind on that a little bit, and they sort of showed me why against the LA Thieves. So like I said, despite losing 3-0, they had about a 50-point lead pretty late in that hard point. They definitely should have won that map. They led the search 5-3 before falling, obviously 6-5. Another map they should have won. and the control was very close as well. So they lost all three, but they easily could have won all three as well with a few gunfights going differently for them. So to be able to hang with a team like the LA Thieves and Respawns, especially when Mac had like a really bad series, I think it's promising for New York. I think once they get Hydra back, they'll be a decent team. And yeah, we'll just see where they go from here. But they showed that they can hang with the top teams even with the loss. I was impressed with them. So for now, they take the number 8 spot in the power rankings. Moving on to number 7, we have who I think was probably the biggest disappointment from opening weekend. We're talking about the Florida Mutineers. So this was a team I was high on. Most people were high on. Most people had them as a top 4 or 5 team in the league, and they came out and they lost pretty badly to the Toronto Ultra. The big thing that was a surprise for me too is that they got smoked in the hard points. They lost the hard points by, I believe, a combined like 150 points. They were getting outslayed pretty badly. Awakening played well. He had like a 2.6 search and destroy KD, but nobody else really was consistent. The only thing that was consistent was Skies consistently being bad. He's considered to be their best player, but he was negative in every single game this series. He was the only person on the team to be negative every single map, so he will definitely have to pick it up. And just them as a whole, they'll have to pick it up in the slaying department. Getting outslayed by a team like Toronto is not a good sign for them, and they were outslayed bad. I think they were minus 37 in kills between 2 hard points, so you're not going to win hard points playing like that in the slaying department. They need to pick it up. They probably will. They have some good players and some veterans, but for now, I'm just not impressed with them, and they fall in at number 7. But they do have the LAG and the Paris Legion to play this week, so they are provided with some good bounce back opportunities, to say the least, with that one. Number 6, we have the Toronto Ultra. I'm not going to have much to say about them because I only got to catch part of their series with Florida, but they beat a very good team in Florida 3-1, and really it was Cammy and Kleenex who were sort of carrying the team. Cammy, I think, in my last video, I said that he was a top 5 player from the weekend. He played very, very well and consistently. And then those two guys struggled a little bit in Search and Destroy, but Methods picked up the slack, had over a 1.5 KD in their one map of Search. So just production coming from different angles. It was a promising sign for them. Bance, he'll be consistently okay, as he always is. They have some stuff going for them now. They do play Optic and FaZe this coming weekend, so they have a chance to really see how good they are. If they can beat one of those teams, they'll definitely fly up in the power rankings. But for now, I have them at number 6, and really it's just going to see however far Cammy and Kleenex can take them. That's as far as this team's going to go, and I'm just excited to see how it goes for them. Kicking off the top 5, we have my personal sleeper team in the CDL. We're talking about the Minnesota Rockers. So they had a really rough start to their weekend when they got smoked by the LA Thieves in a 3-1 in the first series of the weekend. They lost to one hard point by 190 points. So that's all you need to know about Minnesota right now is a hard point team. But they did win all of their searches on the weekend. They beat LA in a search and then Dallas, a very good team in both searches. So they're arguably the best search team in the league. It's probably them or FaZe. They just have consistent guys everywhere. Major Maniac's consistently good at search. Priesta is not consistent, but when he's on, he's really firing. Attach has been a consistent player for 6+ years now. He's just always solid. And then accuracy, he played well over opening weekend. If he can keep playing well, that's a very good sign for this team. They definitely have to get their hard points straightened out, but they're very reliable in search and destroy, and they're clicking pretty well right now with that win over Empire, and they're going to hope to keep the momentum rolling this week. But for now, I have them slotted in at number 5. At number 4, we have the team who I think did the most to raise their stock over opening weekend. I'm talking about the LA Thieves. They looked very sharp in the respawns. They went 5-0 total in their respawns in the weekend. 2-0 against, or no, I'm sorry, 3-0 against Minnesota, and then 2-0 against New York. So they looked really good. Kenny looked like the superstar that we know he's capable of being since his World War II days. He was one of the best players of the weekend. He was actually voted the Scuff MVP of the weekend. I wouldn't have given him that honor, but either way, he was very good. TJ played well. Temp, who was kind of this team's question mark, he played well. Slasher played well. Just 4 very solid guys. Very good in the slaying department. They can improve a little bit in the search and destroy, which they probably will. All these teams are going to improve in search when we get snipers and smokes and just as they play together more. So they're definitely a fun team to watch. They have the potential to be very good, but they also have the potential to sort of unravel and fall apart. But for right now, they seem to be clicking on all cylinders. It's a good sign for them. They're on top of their group for now, and they're number 4 in the power rankings. At number 3, we have Optic Chicago. So they almost beat FaZe. If they did beat FaZe, we'll be talking about them in the number 1 spot. And they were 1 kill away from beating FaZe with the Abizi 3-piece. But regardless, they didn't beat FaZe. They got smoked in the search and destroy as a combined 12-1 against FaZe. Obviously a very bad sign. They looked very good against the Paris Legion. They looked good against FaZe early on. You know, they won the control, they won the first hard point, and they were a kill away from winning the second hard point in the series, but they didn't. And then they just looked rough in search, man. But the good news is they have good individual search and destroy players, like I said previously. If they're not playing well as a team, they can overcome that with just their individual skill, but they have to be better as a team. You know, teams like FaZe, teams like Minnesota, they have the individual skill and the teamwork and the strats all working together for them. Optic does not have that right now. They need to improve upon it. They play Toronto this weekend, and who else? Hold on, I'm sorry. I can't remember who they played this weekend. I know they played Toronto. I forget their other matchup. Oh, LAG. So that's another tough search team right there, LAG. Toronto can give them fits too. So we'll have to see how they go. Definitely in the respawns, they're still looking like probably the best hardpoint team in the CDL. If not, they're definitely up there. But for now, what's keeping them in the number 3 spot is just their major struggles in search and destroy. Number 2, we have the defending champions, the Dallas Empire. So despite their loss to Minnesota, I still think they have to be considered the number 2 team in the league. They looked very sharp in their opener. I don't even remember who they played in it, but I know they smoked them pretty easily. It might have been London, maybe. I don't remember. But anyway, they looked very good. Hook looked like he might be the best player in the world right now. He just was phenomenal in the opening series. He was my MVP of the weekend. Shotzzy didn't have his best weekend, but we know what we're going to get with him. And then Illy and Crimsic, you know, they all played well. It was a good effort from them. They lost the search and destroys to Minnesota to lose the series. But like I said, Minnesota's a very good search team. Dallas, I have them ahead of Optic because I think Dallas is probably a little bit worse in the respawns, but they're definitely better than Optic in search and destroys. And, you know, search accounts for 40% of the series. So even if they're a little worse than Optic in hard points, the searches matter for sure. And they will probably be more consistent winning them than Optic. Looking ahead, I'm still very high in this team. I don't have the number 1, but I could easily see if somebody thinks they're the favorites to win the major. They have so much individual talent, pretty good teamwork. You know, they all played together last year. Just a lot going for them. Despite their loss, I think they'll be fine. And for now, I still have them as the number 2 team. Dallas played Seattle, that's right. I don't know why I couldn't think of that for some reason. But anyway, number 1, we're talking about the Atlanta FaZe. So they have to be here. There's only one team that's 2-0, and it's them. Or there's 2 teams that are 2-0, but they are the best team that's 2-0. They have the biggest win of the weekend in the marquee matchup against Optic Chicago. Just so much talent on this team. You know, there's no weaknesses. I think they're a top 2 search and destroy team, probably number 1, but they could be behind Minnesota, I guess. Top 3 or 4 respawn team up there with Optic and Dallas and LA Thieves. So no weaknesses. I think individually they have 4 of the top probably 12, 15-ish players in the league right now. They have the amazing submachine gun duo of Simp and aBeZy. They're clicking. They're, like I said, no major weaknesses. They know how to get around the map. Their movement is great. Their teamwork, just everything about them is good, especially at search and destroy. They're just so dependable. They seem to win so many first bloods. They never really seem to blow a man advantage. You know, if they get first blood, they seem to always almost win the round. They don't make critical mistakes that we see other teams make. Just super reliable, and until someone knocks them off, I think they just have to be number 1, and we'll see if they can hold on. They do have a tough matchup with Toronto this week, so we'll see how it goes for them. But right now, I think you have to have the Atlanta FaZe as number 1. All right, so that wraps up the video and my power rankings prior to week 2. I'll be updating them, of course, next week after week 2 goes down. I will be also, you know, producing content throughout the weekend, reviewing some of the matches, giving my thoughts and all that good stuff. I'm looking forward to the weekend, some good games. I don't think as good as opening weekend, but still some good games, and I'm excited to watch it all go down. Hopefully they can play. I know they're having some power issues out in Texas, but hopefully everything's good to go on as planned. But anyway, that's it for the video. Don't forget to drop a like and a comment down below and subscribe to the channel. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Have a good one, and I will see you guys in the next video.